Good evening, students, and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Now, before we start our daily quiz, here is a very quick reminder that under our Target Prelims 2023 program, the third session of Environment and Ecology will be held today between 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. live on our YouTube channel. So, do not forget to attend the session to get amazing marks in your prelims exam. So, here is our first question. A and B are two farmers. A holds land of less than 2 hectares while B's land is 5 hectares. Their neighbor C does not own land but has a herd of buffaloes whose milk he sells to earn a livelihood. A, B and C live in a coastal district and procure their daily fish needs from D, who is a fisherwoman. Who among the above will be eligible for a Kisan credit card? We have taken this particular question because a nationwide AHDF KCC Kisan Credit Card campaign for 2023 and 24 has been launched to provide KCC facility to all eligible animal husbandry, dairy and fishery farmers. Now, the KCC scheme was introduced in the year 1998 to enable the farmers to purchase agricultural input and draw cash for their production needs. In 2004, the scheme was revised to cover even the long-term loans as well as the working capital load for agriculture and allied activities. Now, recently, this facility has been extended to the animal husbandry, dairy and the fishery farmers, apart from the farmers who used to work in the crop culture segment. So, this scheme aims to provide credit for various needs, including meeting the short-term credit requirement for cultivation, manage post-harvest expenses, meet the consumption requirement of the farmer's household, working capital for maintaining the farm assets and activities allied to agriculture, and investment credit requirement for agriculture allied activities. Now, if we see the question, A is a small farmer, he is eligible for this KCC. B has a larger land holding, but even B is eligible for the Kisan credit card. Now, C is a landless farmer but is involved in animal husbandry. So, that is why he will also be eligible for this particular card, whereas D, who is engaged in fishing activities, will also be eligible. So, your correct answer over here is D. The next question is, which of the following statements are true regarding the POSH Act 2013? The Vishakha guidelines given by the Supreme Court were a precursor to this law. Every employer should establish an internal complaints committee. The ICC should have at least one woman member. For unorganized sectors, the state must direct the district officers to establish local complaints committee. We have taken this question because you know about the ongoing protest amongst the wrestlers in India against some sexual harassment complaints. Now, according to this news in the Indian Express, even though the number of women athletes have increased, in the federations, there is still no proper compliance seen with regards to the sexual harassment law of India. Now, according to the sexual harassment law, which is based on the Vishakha guidelines given by the Supreme Court in the year 1997 as a part of the judgment in Vishakha and others versus State of Rajasthan case, the Act defines clearly what exactly is sexual harassment at workplace, and it creates a mechanism for redressal of all the complaints. Now, under this Act, every employer, now when we talk about every employer, we are talking about the organized sector, the employers which are properly registered with the government. So, under this Act, every employer is required to constitute an internal complaints committee at each office or branch which has 10 or more employees. Now, these complaint committees, they have powers of the civil courts for gathering the various evidence, and it is necessary that these committees provide for conciliation before initiating any inquiry if it is requested by the complainant. Also, under this Act, the state government is responsible to notify the various district officers in every district to constitute a local complaints committee in order to enable women who are in the unorganized sector or small establishments to work in an environment free of sexual harassment. Now, as per the section 4 of this act, the ICC, its membership is provided. A senior female employee should be the head of this committee. At least half, that is more than equal to 50% of its membership should be women, and there should be at least one external member. Now, this member should be from an NGO or an association that works for women's empowerment. They can also be a person who is familiar with issues related to sexual harassment. So, if we see over here, this is correct. This is also correct. When we say every employer, it is in organized sector. This, however, is incorrect. It should have more than equal to 50% women members. This is correct. So your correct answer is B. The next question is, the Yanomami Area in news for illegal mining and clashes between miners and indigenous people is located in which country? Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines. We have taken this question because an article has been printed in the Indian Express regarding this area and how the policies of the Brazilian president Bolsonaro, who assumed his presidency in the year 2019, it led to the whole problem in the Yanomami area of Brazil. Now, this area is known for its gold mines. In 2019, once the President Bolsonaro, he assumed his presidency, he allowed the mining in the indigenous protected areas, and Yanomami area is one of such areas. Now, this led to a variety of problems in the region, a lot of clashes between the indigenous people and the miners, and it also led to spread of diseases like tuberculosis and malaria due to encroachment of these areas by the illegal miners. There was also a spread of malnourishment because the indigenous people, they were dependent upon the forests for their daily needs, for their food needs. However, these forests were rapidly cleared for the mining activities. There was also a problem associated with mercury poisoning due to these mining activities. So if we see over here, the correct answer is Brazil. The next question is, how many of the following bodies are a part of the World Bank group? Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Multilateral Guarantee Agency, International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. We have taken this question because World Bank has elected an Indian origin person, Mr. Ajay Banga, as its president. Now, World Bank was established in the year 1944 as the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development along with the IMF. Later, it became the World Bank. India is also a member of the World Bank. The World Bank, it has 5 development institutes associated with it, that is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, International Development Association, International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Guarantee Agency, and the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Now, please note that while India is a part of these 4, India is not a part of this particular institute of the World Bank. So if we see over here, Asian Development Bank and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Banks are not a part of World Bank group. So your correct answer will be B. Next, we come to a PYQ from the year 2011. Westerlies in the southern hemisphere are stronger and persistent than the northern hemisphere. Why? Southern hemisphere has less landmass as compared to the northern hemisphere. Coriolis force is higher in the southern hemisphere as compared to the northern hemisphere. Now, westerlies, these are prevailing winds that blow from the west direction, and that is why they are named westerlies. Now, the northern hemisphere has approximately 40% landmass, while 60% of northern hemisphere is water. In the southern hemisphere, it is 20% landmass and 80% water. Now, whenever winds are moving over a surface, there is some amount of friction that it experiences. Now, when it is moving over land, there is a lot of vegetation, a lot of human settlements that can increase the amount of friction that the wind is facing, and that might reduce the speed of the winds. In the northern hemisphere, because the land is more, the friction experienced by the westerlies, it is higher compared to the southern hemisphere. So this is correct. When we talk about Coriolis force, it is a deflective force that is experienced by the moving winds due to the action of Earth's rotation. Now, as we move away from the equator, the Coriolis force experienced by the winds increase. So, at the equator, it is approximately 0. So, the Coriolis force, it increases uniformly both across northern and southern hemisphere as we move away from the equator. So it is not the reason why westerlies in the southern hemisphere are stronger and more persistent. So your correct answer over here is A. Now we come to the fact of the day, which is on National Conference on Agriculture for Kharif campaign. Now this conference was held to review and assess the crop performance during the preceding crop season and fix various crop wise targets for Kharif season in consultation with the state government. Another objective was to ensure supply of critical inputs and facilitate adoption of innovative technologies by the farmers in order to increase the production and productivity of the crops. Now, what are the major Kharif crops of India? Rice is the most important Kharif crop of India. Apart from that, we have various other crops like maize, soya bean, oil seeds, arhar dals, pearl millet, tea, coffee, rubber and sorghum. So such kind of questions can be asked. They can give you a list of the crops and ask you whether they are Kharif or some other crops. Now in the comments, let us know of the other major cropping seasons of India apart from Kharif and a few examples of those crops. Now, during this conference, there was also the inauguration of the Krishi Mapper application. Now, what is it? See, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare is implementing a number of land intervention based schemes and programs. So that is why it becomes very important to use satellite based technology to monitor and evaluate the functioning of these activities. For this, the ministry is actively working towards development of a national framework related to geospatial solutions in the field of agriculture. This framework will open up access to various geospatial and non-spatial data in agriculture through a single point of access, which will include numerous data and thematic layers in agriculture. To achieve this particular vision, the ministry has developed this application known as Krishi Mapper, which covers monitoring of all land intervention based schemes and programs like digital crop survey, natural farming, seed production and distribution, and so on. So that is all about today's daily quiz. I hope you were able to understand all the concepts discussed today. So do not forget to like the video, share it and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such content. Thank you very much and have a very good day ahead.